Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is the Great Idaho Show. This is Dylan Stalker. I am the host of the Great Idaho Show. I'm a multi-generational Idahoan, just trying to connect you to what is great about Idaho. Today, I'm doing a first time. I have been interviewing people on a one-on-one format, and for the very first time, as being a radio junior, a person that is a novice at radio. I am terrible at radio, but I love Idaho, and I have two great Idaho people right here with me right now, which is Kim and Steve Machado. Dear goodness gracious, Steve and Kim Machado of Mash Idaho. And before we get to them, that's what you're listening to today. I know you all got a device in your hand. Don't fool me. Go look it up, Mash Idaho. I know you'll find it. It's a great, great company of Idaho. But another great one, Old Arms of Idaho. You hear it every week. Why? Because this is radio, folks. At least I did one good thing at radio. Old Arms of Idaho. They are your ambassadors to America's heritage, the 24-hour gun show. If you have a collectible, something important, something, a curio, a relic, they are in the history business. So don't forget that, oldarmsofidaho.com. But today, as I was explaining for the first time, we have three people in an interview. So if any of this doesn't sound like radio because I'm terrible at it, it's because it's the first time I've ever done it. But Kim and Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
I'm really excited
thank
to
you.
Be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is fun. I love it. So Kim and Steve have created something great in Idaho. This is the Great Idaho Show. I didn't know if you caught that, but they have started a business called Mash Idaho. Tell us about it.
Well, the introduction really did a nice job of helping to play off, Mash Idaho and our last name, Machado. We thought, how can we help people recognize how to pronounce this Portuguese name? And we thought, well, Idahoans will get mash. They get mashed potatoes. Oh, yeah. And they know Idaho, so we'll just call it Mash Idaho, and it'll sound like Machado, and we'll roll with that.
I think somewhere in about the next 8 days from when we record this, there's going to be a lot of mashed potatoes out there being eaten in Idaho when we're talking about Thanksgiving and all that. But I love it. It's a great name.
Well,
we like it.
We'll see. We may have to rename it if it doesn't fly.
Well, so anytime I've ever talked about people that rename something that's already great, it was not a good move. So let's roll with it. But
we shall.
So it always in the first segment of the Great Idaho Show, I just love sharing Idaho. It's a lot more than to do with about the business. It's not like this is some paid advertisement. Right. Y'all are Idahoans.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
So give us a little bit of the origin story.
There you go. I think the motivation behind creating this business and this approach in the first place was just the idea that, like you say,
no,
we love
I'm
Idaho.
sorry. I'm going to learn from Kevin Miller here. I'm going to interrupt you. Tell us about you, Idaho.
About me.
My goodness.
Well, it's a fantastic place to grow up. There's no question. I have been here since I was a little kid. I mean, I was born, outside of the state, but my parents moved here pretty quickly, and I've lived here my entire life, with the exception of the fact that Kim and I lived in Oregon for a time.
I mean, we all do things.
I know, we make mistakes.
In Alaska, I mean, it's like that validation card. No matter what, if you're here, it is for a reason, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's it. That's exactly right. And we came back pretty quickly too, and we've actually had even more fun since we've moved back. I mean, Kim and I have just decided we really wanted to focus our outdoor adventures on Idaho and learn more about the state we live in. And, we've discovered that there have been so many beautiful and amazing places and experiences to have so close to where we live here in Boise. And we had never taken advantage of going to those places in the past. And that's a sad mistake to make, but we corrected
100%.
it. We worked it out. And so we've been to Hell's Canyon. We've been to the Sawtooths recently. We've been to, some of these fantastic places that we thought to ourselves,
Seven Devils.
Yeah, Seven Devils.
We hear about it all the time, but we haven't been there. And we did have a fantastic.
It was one of the best experiences we've had so far.
I just love the lexicon of Idaho: Seven Devils, Copper Basin, Sawtooth, Hell's Canyon, Massacre Rock. I mean, just you can go down the
River
list.
of no return, wilderness.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, it turns out that Kim and I are what you would call Halyites, or would you call them Halians, or what Halians. That's it. I didn't ever come up with that, but we are
Well,
Halians.
I love Haley, but I was not born there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually born in Utah.
Oh, okay.
And we moved around quite a bit until we settled in Idaho in 1984.
Yeah.
And my father was born and raised in Idaho, and we just gravitated back here.
How do you not?
I know. And like Steve said, for a brief period after we were married and had a few kids, we moved to Oregon and then came back gladly to be Idahoans for the rest of our lives.
Well, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, how it's birds of a feather kind of a talk, but you both, we mentioned a bunch of names. There is a process of this radio thing going on. You heard those names like Seven Devils and the Sawtooths and Hell's Canyon and Devil's Bedstead is another one. But, you guys created a business, Mash Idaho, that capitalizes, I shouldn't say capitalizes, terrible word, but highlights and empowers all of that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we laughed a lot about the fact that, if you just look at a map of the state of Idaho and you look at the stuff that's labeled on there, even like the longest river in the state, the Snake.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that we've run across that refuse to wear a T-shirt that says snake on it because they just do not like snakes.
Yes.
And so we thought, what a fun way to highlight our state and all the amazing geography and zoology that's in the state by creating some fun messaging around all the amazing names of those things. And, I've talked to people who have said that they believe that the people who settled the area in Idaho either had a really great sense of humor or they had a really miserable life.
Well, goodness. I mean, talk about the pioneering days. Those names got a name for a reason. This is rugged country here, and everything that you do here, it's 4 seasons. You could die of heat exhaustion in the summer, or you could die of pure cold in the wintertime, or as you had said, the river of no return, which is one of my favorite things of all time. Kim, what stood out to you about it?
About
just about the names or your experience, like a location, you went out and saw something and just was like, wow, I heard about it, but Jiminy Christmas.
Well, I think, like I said, our most recent adventure was to Seven Devils, and we got to a spot on the drive up to our hike where there was this beautiful lookout. And we got out of the truck and we started walking towards the viewpoint, and we both just started crying because we just couldn't believe this is where we get to live and explore, and how stunning it is and how special it is that we get to be a part of that and experience that. It's given us a healthy respect for being prepared.
Sure. Thank you for mentioning that,
my
by
gosh.
the way.
Yeah, in fact, there's so much we can say about that.
There's a lot to say about that. Actually, on the back of your T-shirt should come with a disclaimer, a long list of things. It's like this beautiful T-shirt. You guys got to look up their T-shirts. Tell us right now, where do we go see? And I'm sorry, it's not a T-shirt company. It's an Idaho company that has so much more to go with it, but they figured out something great. Where do we check it out?
MashIdaho.com.
MashIdaho.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's the place.
And, so anyways, carrying on, preparedness in Idaho, that's kind of a connected concept of the whole idea.
Absolutely. Being fully prepared, because for that specific trip, it rained the entire 8 hours that we were on the trail. And it was there was so much joy because we were prepared for that, and we didn't really care. In fact, it was a really different experience because we usually try to pick really great weather days.
Sure.
And so this one, we just went with it, and it was awesome.
I relate to that tremendously. I took my family to Sagehead Reservoir for 9 days, and I think it rained for 9.5 days the whole time. And we're a single track or road motorcycle family, and you're just dog wet the whole time. And if you have the right gear, you're impervious. You know, show up prepared, folks. It's a 4-season every year, every day.
Yep.
It is, exactly.
100%.
So,
100%.
wow, I love it. So, you know, as we transition into this next segment that's really about your brand, your design, your message, and kind of what you're putting out there, you know, what's one of the biggest things that helped you guys move forward into this?
I think Kim and I would probably both agree that one of the most rewarding experiences we've had pretty early on is that we came up with a couple of messages, and our shirt message for Hell's Canyon is enjoy hiking in hell. And it's got a couple of factoids on there.
that sounds good. Right.
It's got a couple of factoids on there that explain the fact that there are no roads that cross Hell's Canyon. So you either have to go all the way north to get across, or you have to go all the way south to get across. But there's no crossing it, in the middle. We had a local guy who was a retired firefighter contact us and say, hey, I saw your hiking in Hell's Canyon shirt, and I really like that, and I want to tell you a story about why I bought one. He said, I got it because my wife and I were driving in Hell's Canyon 2 years ago, and he said we looked across the river on the other side, on the Oregon side, and we saw this red spot, and we couldn't tell what it was. We could tell it wasn't flowers, but so we went over and got closer, got out the binoculars, and it was a person.
Wow.
So folks might have heard this story before, but there was a retired judge from the state of Oregon. His name's Eric Valentine. He actually hikes in Hell's Canyon a lot, and he shoots a lot of photography. Well, he had a day where his hiking partner couldn't go with him, so he went by himself. But he ended up falling off the trail and fell about 65 feet towards the water, and he broke his neck and he broke his ankle.
Wow.
So being the fact that he served for many years as a scout leader, he knew that he needed to be prepared, like we were discussing.
Prepared.
Yes.
Yeah, but he said he knew he had a red jacket in his bag, and he thought, well, the first thing I got to do is I got to put this on. It'll make me more visible. So he put that on. That's how they spotted him. Well, it's a real long story, but incredibly enough, the Rizzulos, who are the folks who first spotted him, were able to flag down a Boy Scout troop that was kayaking in the Snake, and they said, hey, there's this guy on the other side, and he needs assistance. Can you guys go over and help him?
Yeah.
One of the young men that's in the scout troop said that his leaders, a lot of times in the past have set up these fake scenarios where they have someone who pretend they're injured, and they got to use their scout training to take control the situation, help the person that's injured. And so these two scouts that were in the lead went over to the other side and pulled their kayaks ashore and walk up to where he was at. And they said as soon as they saw him, they knew this was not a drill. They knew that this was the real deal. So they actually got all the scouts over there with their leaders. They were able to use the sat phone and contact help.
And stabilize him.
Yeah, stabilized him while Idaho Power came in with a boat and a backboard. And they loaded him up and picked him up and took him downriver where the life flight could get him. But the amazing thing about the whole story is that, Steve Rizzullo thought, these shirts are hilarious. We got to get Eric Valentine one of these shirts. And we thought, well, it's fantastic that he's got a good enough sense of humor that he'll wear a Enjoy Hiking in Hell shirt after having that experience.
Absolutely, because humility is king, right? I mean, any individual like that is like, bad day at the office, but at least we can remember it in a little bit of humor and comedy, and the fact that we made it. This is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show. You know at thegreatidahoshow.com. You can listen to it 24 hours a day, but always here on KIDO Talk Radio, 580 AM, 107.5 FM. And before we move to this next segment, you know it, oldarmsofidaho.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, The Great Idaho Show. This is Dylan Stalker, thegreatidahoshow.com. This is all about Idaho. Every time, you know it. We love Idaho. That's why we're here. The folks I have here They love Idaho. Kim and Steve Machado. Mash Idaho, mashidaho.com. Go check it out. We've got some wonderful stories here, and we're going to talk to these wonderful folks. What's going on? I hope you heard that last segment. If you didn't, you need to go listen to it. It's not just a marketing company. This is connected to real life stuff here in Idaho. There's some depth going on here, but you market the idea that Idaho is gorgeous, but also dangerous. Mm-hmm. Continue on with that prepared name. You've got some wonderful ideas. Let it rip.
Well, I have one I'll share. We're always looking for the next dangerous place in Idaho, and we love getting feedback from people in Idaho to tell us about their experiences, whether it's in a place we've already heard of or we haven't. But as Kim had mentioned, we went to Riggins, and we stayed a few days, and we went to Seven Devils, which was a great experience.
Yeah.
But as a lot of people might know, if you've lived in Idaho, one of the names for Riggins before it was actually named Riggins was Gaujai.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It was called Gaujai, and they're still pretty proud of that history. You can certainly go to the town of Riggins and see a lot of historical markers that talk about that. But apparently, early on in the town's creation, when it was a mining town, certainly they had a pretty notorious fight between two guys in town, and one guy apparently just about got his eye gouged out in the fight. And so the locals started referring to the town as Gaujai. And it later on was renamed as Riggins, which I think Riggins was the first postmaster general of the town.
Oh, okay.
So they renamed it after that, after they got a post office established there. But, we're always looking for the sweet stories of Idaho that have that little hint of danger, right?
Yeah, it's like Poison Creek or something,
Exactly.
Like, why did they call it Poison Creek? Well, it's probably because there's a story that goes along with it,
Yeah.
What's your favorite, Kim?
My favorite story.
Or your favorite connection to what you all are highlighting?
My favorite connection is the human connection. We actually went last weekend and met Eric Valentine in person and spent about an hour and a half with him in a cute little coffee shop in La Grande, Oregon, and just got to know him. I might get emotional. The human connection, getting to know him, getting to know the Rizzulos who were instrumental in his rescue, getting to know other Boise small businesses, getting to know other small businesses around the state.
Sure.
Just making those human connections is everything to us.
And it's like, so part of why this came together is I interviewed Jennifer Mock, the executive director of Buy Idaho. Let me just pause right here. Buy Idaho, folks. Come on now. There's seasons coming up here. There's so many different ways to be special. And I guarantee you, if you are in a Target, in a Costco, or anything like that, that's just stuff that's made out there for the masses. If you are like Mash Idaho, Buy Idaho, you are getting something that is uniquely created in the name of Idaho or focused on an Idaho family, and you are doing not only good for your family through creative ideas that, hopefully get shared to many, but it's a really Idaho focused thing. But I love that you share that human connection. And just to remind people, if you didn't hear the first segment, what she's referring to is this rescue that happened in the Hells Canyon and a T-shirt that was created. What's the slogan on that T-shirt?
Well, it's enjoy hiking in hell.
Enjoy hiking in hell, the Hells Canyon. You got to meet them, and it's more than just a slogan. It's more than just a T-shirt. This is real connected stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll always remember the day that I received a text message, and I looked at it, and it was from Steve Rizzullo, and I opened it up, and it was a picture of him and Eric Valentine together with their Enjoy Hiking in Hell T-shirts on together.
Yeah.
And they were going back to the location where he experienced his accident. And so they were back there together. That's the first time he'd been there, and they were both wearing the shirts with pride. And it's like Kim said, that human connection is the best part of the whole thing, you know. And who would have guessed that you'd get that kind of thing out of creating a little T-shirt business? And I've had people come to me and say, well, so what do you guys do? And I'll say, well, we design and sell T-shirts. And they'll say, well, is that all you do? And I'm like, Well, like the 3 basic needs in life are food, shelter, and clothing. This is clothing.
Yeah, you got one of the basic needs. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, we got to remind people of this.
Yeah, you got to have it. And who doesn't have a T-shirt?
If you didn't have the T-shirt, you'd just go all out naked, and we'd all be tattooed with a brand, right? It'd just be tattoos. I'll take the T-shirt. Thank you very much.
Indeed. The shirt's a much better idea.
The shirt's definitely a better idea, because in case you don't like that anymore, you can always change a T-shirt. But you know, I love discovering how to connect your story, and that it's rooted in adventure, and that it's rooted in, you know, these are places that are famous for a reason, and it's bountiful, but my goodness, the safety aspect. I'm like joining your team right now, because I believe in the safety of it all, and I'm like, I would love to see a T-shirt of being like the 5 or the 10 things that you don't go anywhere in Idaho without.
Right.
And isn't it funny, we're in Radio Land here, and in Radio Land, of course, in the summertime, you're going to hear the HVAC companies, well, it's getting hot out there in Idaho. You need to go change your air filters. And in the winter, they're going to, you know, it's getting cold out here. You're going to have to go change your filters. It's the same. But they also are like, don't forget to prepare for wintertime and take a jacket and take all of that stuff. Yeah. You both have been out adventuring. What's another adventure that you've been doing?
Yeah.
That you've
well,
done?
you know, that reminds me, as you're talking about preparedness, and we're talking about the Hell's Canyon shirt. One of the things that it motivated us to do was we decided that, well, like you mentioned, there's a list of 10 items that they recommend that you always have with you to be prepared. One of the things is a piece of bright colored clothing.
Yeah.
So that if you get into an issue like Eric experienced,
Sure.
Then you know you've got something bright to put on. Well, we made sure we did a new version of the Hell's Canyon shirt that is bright red as a tribute to Eric Valentine. It's
for sure
what we call our Valentine edition. So
where, again, this is a business where we'll get into this a little bit in this next segment. This is about Idahoans supporting Idahoans and the concept of that. And that is why Kim and Steve Machado are here from Mash Idaho, because I support Idahoans and I support great ideas that are connected in an Idaho legacy or thought. And where do they go find where you're at? What are all your socials? You've got the X, the dots, the clips, the whips. That would be a Kevin Miller statement. How do they find you?
If you just look up Mash Idaho on Instagram, on Facebook, we're probably going to expand our socials soon. But just look up Mash Idaho.
So X and Facebook.
Us.
And Facebook probably being a good one, because there's a lot of real good Idahoans in there on Facebook, minus the politics on X, which is what you get on X, just so you know.
And we are on Instagram as well.
Oh, Instagram. You said Instagram.
Yeah, and amazingly, we didn't have to fight a lot of people to get the Mash Idaho moniker either, which is really surprising.
That is surprising.
I figured there would be a lot of people who wanted to grab that Mash
Idaho.
I know. So we were lucky. We lucked out. We were able to nail that down on our socials. We've got the website, so yeah, we're pretty proud that we.
Well, you know, I mean, I think you might have a little bit of education in all of this as it comes to marketing and advertising. But this is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show, thegreatidahoshow.com, and every segment, you know, at Old Arms of Idaho. Idaho is a gun state, but is it just the gun? No. Old Arms of Idaho is in the history business. Good old wheel guns, lever guns, holsters, militaria, swords, knives, bayonets, reloading, old cartridges. oldarmsofidaho.com. Don't forget, we'll be right back with Kim and Steve of Mash Idaho. KIDO, you're here. This is a Great Idaho Show, thegreatidahoshow.com. This is Dylan Stalker. Welcome back. We are talking about what is great about Idaho. We do this every week, and I am out there on a mission just to share the wonderful people of Idaho. This is unpaid. This is just me loving radio. This is just me loving Idaho. And there's so much amazing stuff happening in Idaho. And there is artists, and there are businesses, and there are things happening. But I do love focusing on small business. You know, small business makes up over 50% of the impact on the economy in Idaho. And how I came about who we're talking to, Kim and Steve Machado of Mash Idaho, is that they're a small business doing something really awesome. And you know how you get to become a big business in this world? You got to start out small somewhere. And I think they're doing something really great. But this might be a little bit about the Idaho business, you know, the community, and just, you know, how it all comes together. But what does it mean to you to build a business in Idaho, not just anywhere?
Yeah, my part of my experience that really ties in nicely with the business that we've started is that for the past 12 or so years, my ambition beyond my daily work has been to be a runner. And so I got into the habit of running quite a bit, and I love running in Idaho. I love running in Utah.
Yeah.
You know, some great places to run, some beautiful places to run. And there's no way to take your mind off of the horrors that are happening to you when you're running, like looking at beautiful, you know, scenery.
Absolutely.
So it really
it's
helps.
laying around everywhere.
Really helps. So,
sure.
But that really helped us to connect with some of the folks that are doing things in Idaho, like organizing running races and some of those kinds of things. So Kim and I have had the opportunity to meet some of the local running race directors and store owners and those kind of folks, and try to kind of connect what we're doing with them, because they're lovers of Idaho too, you know. And so that's been, again, another great opportunity to connect with people who are trying to make Idaho great by sharing what they love. And, you know, you get kind of obsessed as a runner. It's like, oh, then you got to have, you know, everybody asks like, you run because it doesn't take much equipment or any, you know, it's just easy.
And you always get a T-shirt.
You always get a T-shirt.
You always get a T-shirt.
That's right. You get a banana and you get a T-shirt.
You know what's funny about that is my daughter ran the Boise Half Marathon last week, and she finished 52nd out of the whole 500 plus.
Beautiful.
It was her second half marathon.
That's incredible.
This is something happening over radio, ladies and gentlemen, where, you know, Kim and Steve came to me through Buy Idaho, and when you look at the surface, we have an Idaho business, we have a great Idaho message, we have everything that's every reason why these folks are here. But when you start going through the layers of these small businesses in Idaho, it goes way deeper than just this product that they're selling. It goes way deeper than just this message that they're sharing that is great. Like, don't forget that. But I am tremendously relating right now, having been a longtime runner. I don't run anymore over some other stuff. And then my daughter being a runner. And now you're a couple of runners. You're running business. You're running around Idaho.
I walk fast.
You're a fast walker.
He runs, I walk fast.
We are connected with John and Jamie Stevens, who are the race directors for the Boise Half Marathon and a lot of other races in town. And so, yeah, we've had a booth at some of their racing events.
Awesome.
We were there earlier this year, and we've
They're awesome.
volunteered some time with Soul Kids, which is one of their real passions as far as helping kids in after-school programs to run, and just really great people. I mean, they have been so supportive of us and what we're doing.
Okay, after the show, I need their phone number. I am starving.
You need it.
I'm not good at this. I have a hard time coming up. There's content laying out all over there, but I'm, help me. I really appreciate that. That is so cool, because running is, you either do it or you don't, but those that do, that is a very special category of experience. And what a way to clean the mind and to focus and to take care of the body. And it doesn't have to tear your body up,
Doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to.
Yeah, well, and as Kim was talking about, the preparation for outdoor exploration in Idaho, it's the same thing with running too. It's like so much preparation that has to happen. And I never had thought about the fact that I was going to have to learn how to eat while I was running, in order to be able to keep my calories up and be able to finish a race and not pass out, or maybe to finish Roby Creek a few times, or any of those kinds of
Well, and how much energy people extend doing this, flexing their arms and holding them. It's just like, you're burning energy up there. But sorry, went off a tangent. There's a lot of things I could talk about running, but this is about Idaho business community. I have a real question for y'all, and that this is always in softball mode. Remember, folks, I am a super fan of anybody that I talk to on this radio show, so the questions aren't hard, but this one is about small business. It has always been curious to me that you have so-called, or you have friends that are out there that are your friend, and then you get into small business, and you would think that you would be like, hey, you guys, I just started this thing. If you're my friend or I'm your friend, no matter what, I am going to share everything that you are utterly doing. And I have found that your friends aren't sharing you as much as you would hope or want or believe or what that is. And it's like, but why? I don't understand it. It's in a small business sense, we should be supporting each other like crazy. You get a new job and they're like, yay, and capitalizing on a good job and all this stuff. Hey, I started this t-shirt company, and it's like, can you please should I have to ask that you share me? What is your guys' experience with that?
Well, I have a theory. So, yeah, that happens. I know that several of the people that we are friends with just have super busy, packed lives. They aren't on social media very much. So they just, I get that. I think we may fall out of algorithms if we're not liking each other's. I mean, it gets complicated.
Yeah, it does get complicated.
So I have a couple of theories on that. And then it reminds me to make sure that I'm going and supporting and sharing my other friends.
For sure.
And other local businesses. So
I learned this early in life, is that it's really easy to tell people that they're doing something really cool and you want to support them. But then when it comes time to put some of your own time aside to help them out and support them and do those things, it's a different game, right? It's now I got to do something.
There's a lot of people out there that would believe that water is our greatest commodity when ultimately it boils down to time, right? Time is a commodity that is so precious. So, but in that question, it is about positivity. It is about being motivated by things that are good. And I gotta say, meeting both of you face to face today, you exemplify that in such an amazing way. If you had a suggestion for anybody doing a similar business from each of you, what would you say is just like your one line advice or your one shot advice?
Do a collaboration. Find another small Idaho business and collaborate.
And they're willing to do that with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I will say, too, that Kim, at one point, after we had been trying to do this for about a year, she came to me and she said, one of the things I've really discovered about you through this experience is, she said, you've got some tenacity. She's like, you just won't quit on people.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to give people multiple chances to help you out.
Well,
yep.
That's patience, consistency, professionalism, and the only difference between those that do and those that don't is those that do just did. This is Dylan Stalker, the Great Idaho Show. Don't forget, Old Arms of Idaho. We will be right back. Welcome back, KIDO listeners, 580 AM, 107.5 FM. This is Dylan Stalker, your host of the Great Idaho Show, thegreatidahoshow.com. And always Old Arms of Idaho, oldarmsofidaho.com. They're your ambassadors to America's heritage. They are in the history business, that good old westerny kind of stuff or military kind of stuff or good old firearms. They will take care of you, oldarmsofidaho.com. We're welcoming back Kim and Steve Machado of Mash Idaho. Did you catch that little name thing going on there? But if you've been listening through this whole thing, this show is more than just being about the product. Even though they have a great product, it's about the people behind it. And that's what makes you want to go and buy it even more, because they have a great idea. And I just can't get over and love the dangerous places of Idaho and the stories behind them.
For sure.
I mean, did they just tee it up for you and you just decided to hit the 400-yard golf shot there, or what?
There you go.
Feels
Thanks.
like it.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who contributed to the scary names of everything in Idaho. We appreciate you.
Those are some of my favorite books. Are very Idaho specific books, and the book the River of No Return, which is based on movies and all of these wonderful places. There's some that are very popular and some that are very well known. You've talked about your tremendous Hell's Canyon and experience and how it personally connected you to saving an individual's life. And you've got the Sawtooth. I mean, what a great name. What's another one out there or something else you're working on? Without giving anybody ideas, trust me, they already did it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, we did mention Massacre Rocks State Park. And we had not started originally with a shirt with a message for them. But through the course of connecting with Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation, we were able to touch base with the park manager, Travis. And so he's been working with us, and so we are going to have a Massacre Rock shirt coming out soon.
Cool.
And Kim, do you remember what the message is on that shirt? Do you remember it?
Is it find your inner peace at Massacre Rocks?
Find your inner peace at Massacre Rock. If you're ever driving from Boise to Pocatello, somewhere up there on the left as you go through some interesting territory and through all the wind farms and things like that, you are going to see Massacre Rock, and that is a heritage location that some very terrible things happened in Native American history, and you should look it up. You should adventure Idaho, but Steve and Kim are trying to, or are, I should say, creating some very interesting ways to raise more awareness to it and have us all carry it on the three most important things in life, which includes clothing.
Yeah. Well, and Massacre Rocks is becoming a lot more popular now since COVID. Prior to COVID, they would close that park in the wintertime. And now what they've discovered is that they are kind of like the perfect stop-off between some California starting points and getting to like Yellowstone or Grand Teton.
Oh, sure.
So since they're just a couple of hours away from those locations, people have decided, hey, why don't we stop, and kind of learn a little bit about Idaho history, Oregon Trail, history here, and have an extra opportunity to learn some Idaho stuff before we head up to these other bigger national parks. And I have to say, that's one of the other things I'm really proud of in Idaho is that, other than a little sliver of Yellowstone, we don't have any national parks in the state of Idaho. And when I was a kid, I used to think that they were really overlooking us. But now as I look at what happens to some of the national parks in Utah and in other areas, I think to myself, wow, am I glad that we had the forethought to not make these national parks and make it so that if you want to get into the areas and recreate in Idaho, you got to be prepared to do it, and it's going to take you some work.
I appreciate that so tremendously. Idaho is a national park. There you go.
Yes, it is.
And it's so funny when you talk about the adventurism of people and the wonderful American industry experience that we have to adventure in RVs and Duramax and diesel trucks that can haul campers the size of your house and get out and go see all of this stuff. It used to be you'd be just driving by and see the 100-foot tall lumberjack built into a hotel room that you could stay in. And Massacre Rock, if you were just driving by it, it's a part of the Snake River and you're just not sure it's a canyon. But when you really get down into it, there is so much history and things that connect people back to that history. And you all have, I just love that you all are identifying these little locations and giving people a good reason to share it, identify it, and pausing here for you folks. Go prepared, okay? Because Idaho is dangerous, and you know why, because the names of these wonderful concepts are coming out in T-shirts.
Yeah, learn the history, because, man, whether it's going to Gouge Eye or whether it's going to Massacre Rocks, there's some beautiful history there to learn and to understand. And we were a little bit tentative at first about, should we do a T-shirt for Massacre Rocks? But
I have to say, it seems a little bit sensitive about what a better way to raise awareness and ultimately they'll go and discover it, hopefully, for themselves.
History is important. It's important to learn what happened in this state as it was being explored and discovered, and it's important to know our history so that, as we move forward, we recognize that, we don't have to repeat some of the mistakes that we've made in the past, that we can improve on the way that we connect with each other, whether it be in the outdoors or otherwise. And that history is important, and I'm grateful for state parks and other places that help to preserve those kinds of things, because you don't have an opportunity to learn that stuff in a lot of other ways. So, I don't go to the library very often, but I do go to state parks quite a bit.
I mean, libraries, state parks. I'm not saying I don't like to read, but maybe I'll read a book out in that state park. We'll connect it up some way that way.
There you go.
But, Mash Idaho, it's connected to something deeper. It's connected to Idaho. It's connected to helping people get educated about these wonderful places. And that's just what I take from it. That's what I'm learning from you right now. But ultimately, where's Mash Idaho going, and what do you want Idaho to know?
Yeah, Kim, where are we going? What do we know?
I know that. I think that's been another one of the fun parts of starting a small business, is thinking you know exactly what you want to do, and then having the road turn and then turn a little bit more, and then all of a sudden it opens up. And there's so many opportunities. Like, we want to do more collaborations. We call them mashups.
Yeah.
And we want to continue to connect with people. We want to find little gems throughout the state that most people don't know about, because we are Idahoans, and if we know more about our state, it helps to remind us how this state was formed and how we are shaped. It's a fact. People are coming here. That's okay. There's two kinds of people in the world: good people and bad people. I see two good people right here doing something good about Idaho and those places. Mash Idaho. Look them up. Instagram and Facebook. mashidaho.com. This is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show. This is The Great Idaho Show, because this is what's great about Idaho. It's just my opinion, folks, but I'm sure if you listen to the people I'm talking to, not me, remember, I'm terrible about radio, listen to these people. There's so much good about Idaho, and I'm thankful for you all listening. And don't forget what I personally, I'm very biased, it's my business, Old Arms of Idaho. They are your ambassadors to America's heritage. They are in the history business, and they will be in the history business for you. And we'll see you next week.